Have you ever asked yourself the reason why some people are productive in life, why some other people have the lackluster attitude? They do not achieve anything. Somebody told me many years ago, when he discovered that I've written many books, he said he wants to become an author too. Years later, when I saw him, he was still writing that book. Many years added to that, he was still writing his book. How come some people aren't productive? You might say that is not their talent, that's not their area of productivity. But in your area of productivity, how productive are you? Today, I want to discuss with you the power of repetition as a prerequisite to becoming productive. Yes, you heard me right. The power of repetition. Most of the time when we hear the word repetition, it sounds negative to us, but it's a fundamental principle of growth. Repetition is a fundamental principle of growth. Your progress in life or otherwise is a function of your mindset. Your mindset is what gives you the interpretation of life and the interpretation of situations and circumstances. So if you have a fixed mindset, you will not move on in life. However, if you have the growth mindset, you keep making progress wherever you find yourself. Productivity means you've built the growth mindset within you, and that growth mindset is what makes you to forge ahead anywhere you find yourself. And one way to develop the growth mindset is to embrace what I call the power of repetition. One way to know people that have the fixed mindset is to see how fast they want to get results relative to the effort they put into a task. They want to get results fast by putting little or no effort into something, and that's why they are unproductive. However, people with the growth mindset do not mind repeating something over and over again till they get results. You can see the difference between people with the fixed mindset and people with the growth mindset. The people with the fixed mindset just want to put little or no effort into something and get results. However, the people with the growth mindset do not mind to keep doing something over and over again because they know it is worthwhile till they get results. They don't give up till they get results. They don't understand anything called failure till they get results. However, people with the fixed mindset are triggered to stop if they attempt something once and it doesn't work. Especially if they try it 2 times and it doesn't work. They just leave it there. I know how many people give up on life because they expect something to work at the first attempt. But life is never like that. People with the growth mindset know that it takes repeated effort for you to get results. I'll give you so many examples today so that you can develop the growth mindset, and that's the only way you can become productive. Productivity is a function of having the right mindset, and one way to have the right mindset is to embrace the power of repetition. Now, here's a caveat. You do not apply the power of repetition till you've established that what you want to achieve is worthwhile, because a lot of people apply this power of repetition to achieve negative things in life. So you must have established that what you want to achieve is worthwhile. Then you employ the power of repetition. So what is the power of repetition? The power of repetition is the willingness to keep doing something in the direction of a worthwhile goal till you get results. You keep on putting in this effort without counting how many times it takes you till you get results. That's the power of repetition. And you know what? The willingness to keep trying something or to keep repeating something till you get results is a growth mindset. If you're someone that will wake up to repeat what you did yesterday because you know it is worthwhile, and you wake up the next day again to repeat what you've done because you know it's worthwhile till you get results, then you have the growth mindset. But if you attempted something once or twice and you push it aside to try something new, you do not have the growth mindset. People that do not have the growth mindset are people that destroy families, destroy an organization, and eventually they may end up destroying themselves. I want you and I to embrace the growth mentality by embracing the power of repetition. In my opinion, I think every child is born with a growth mindset, the mindset that does not give up, the mindset that they have to repeat things over and over again till they get results. Every child is born with a growth mindset, but the child loses the growth mindset when it keeps growing and begins to have influences from outside. That's when a child begins to learn about failure. No child is born with a failure mindset because no child accepts anything as failure until it starts having influences, either from parents or from outside. We can have influences from parents and from outside. That's when a child begins to learn something called failure and begins to have the fixed mindset. That's when it develops cold feet in doing certain things. Every child is born with the growth mindset. That's why the baby grows inside the mother's womb with no external influences. The baby is born and continues with this growth mindset until it gets to a stage where it begins to have external influences that begins to alter the mindset from growth to fixed, and that's where problem sets in. You see, we grow from childhood to adulthood through the power of repetition. Let me use how a child walks as an example. When it's time for a child to start walking, it starts by getting up and falling down. That child can get up and fall down several times in a day. We do not see that that one as failure. As a matter of fact, it's the parent that will be cheering the child on to get up. If the child falls down, they cheer him up to get up again. So that process continues. It's been repeated several times. We do not see anything wrong in that. In fact, you hardly will see any parents shout on the child that, "Why did you fall down? Get up!" If you do that, the baby will start crying, thinking what he's doing is wrong. But we know what the child is doing is right. When he gets up and falls down, we know he's not doing something wrong because it's something worthwhile that every parent is waiting for. It's a stage that every parent is waiting for. You're waiting for your child to start that process. And if he keeps repeating that, get up, fall down, get up, fall down, you do not see anything wrong in that. You know it's part of the process till the child begins to walk. Now, when the child begins to do that, the child does not have the mindset of failure. The mere fact that he gets up and falls down, nobody tells him that you're a failure. The child doesn't know anything called failure. So when he's attempting that, he sees it as part of the process. The child is enjoying it. In fact, the child will be laughing as he gets up and falls down. However, it gets to a point in the child's life when he tries something and it does not work. He sees it as failure. You know why? The child's mindset is already getting influences from external sources. When he was a little child, he didn't have any such influence. As a matter of fact, the parents encouraged him to fall down and rise again. He saw it as part of the process. However, the child keeps growing, and any small attempt to get something done that does not work immediately becomes a failure. How come that suddenly becomes a failure? Friends, it's just a mindset. There is no such thing called failure other than the mindset that we have built. The same thing applies when the child begins to learn to speak. When he begins to learn to speak, that child can mumble one word several times a day. He keeps repeating the words. We parents don't get tired. In fact, we repeat the word with the child. We want that child to start speaking well. So when the child begins to say dada, dada, you keep saying it, daddy, daddy. The child keeps trying that. You can't count how many times the child repeats that in a day. He does that several days, several months, until one day the child begins to call daddy very well. Until one day the child begins to call mommy very well. We don't see it as failure when the child keeps repeating that process. How come it gets to a point in our lives we begin to see repetition as failure? Repetition is no failure. It's part of the process. In fact, it is what I call the growth mindset. If you want to develop the growth mindset, you have to learn the power of repetition. If you see an excellent book like mine, you wonder how long it took the author to put the book together. I've read a couple of books in my life, and I wonder how long it took the author to put it together. I once heard what one great author said. He said, when you see the simplest book to understand, it took the author the greatest effort to write it. When you pick a book and it's so easy to understand, the author must have gone through rigors of making that book simple for you to understand, which means the author must have repeated certain processes to make it simple. Any author that releases a classic book will tell you they employed the power of repetition. Any good content creator will tell you they employ the power of repetition. At times we sit down and relax in our house and watch skits, comedy skits of 5 minutes, and we keep laughing. If you ask those people to show you what happened at the background when they were producing that comedy skit that you only watched for 5 minutes, it might have taken them hours. Repetition. In fact, they will tell some actors or actresses to keep repeating lines. It can be so boring. However, when you are watching the movie or you are watching the skit, you wouldn't see all that in the movie. Why? Because they fine-tuned everything through the power of repetition. Now, I wonder why people don't want to repeat tasks. At times when I'm watching a tutorial or I'm trying to learn something, I can repeat the effort over and over and over again before I can get it. I'm a publisher and I've published books for notable authors. I know what it means to proofread something. When I'm publishing a book that will have the name of my company on it, I follow careful procedure, because when they see any error in the book, it will show that I'm not diligent enough. I can proofread the book many times. I can't even count the number of times I proofread books. My wife will see me proofreading over and over again, and she will tell me I'm a perfectionist. But that is the truth. For you to get results in life, for you to be productive, you have to embrace the power of repetition. Most of us like to give examples of leaders like Abraham Lincoln. In fact, an average motivational speaker will rarely speak without mentioning Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was perhaps the greatest president America ever had. How did he become a president? He failed many times, in quotes. To someone with a fixed mentality, it was a failure. But Abraham Lincoln never let it get into his mindset that because he attempted something once and it didn't work, then he's a failure. He never let that get into his mindset. So he contested for leadership position on all levels, but he kept on putting in the effort till he became the president of the United States. Most successful leaders of organizations that I know keep repeating their effort before they get an answer. I once read something that happened with Henry Ford and his engineers one particular time. Henry Ford asked the engineers, he said he wanted a particular car with certain specification, but the engineers kept coming to tell him it was not possible. They will just attempt it once or twice and they'll come and tell him, sir, it's not possible. We cannot have this kind of automobiles. But Henry Ford will reply them with one statement. If you want to keep being on this team, that's what I want. Go and get it. So they went back and they kept repeating their effort until one day they came to tell him, we've got it. Henry Ford said, that's what I want. People that succeed or people that are productive know that they will not get the answers they are looking for because they attempted something once. As a matter of fact, they do not count how many times they attempt something before they get results. And that's where the power of repetition comes to play. Just like I said about a child that came from the growth mindset from the mother's womb. It doesn't know anything called failure. An average child is ready to repeat something 1 million times because they don't know anything called failure. They don't know it's failure for you to attempt something several times until the child gets to a point when external influences begin to bombard him. He begins to see somebody doing something maybe 10 times, getting results. Then he's not getting results after doing it 20 times. That he feels is a failure because he starts comparing himself to other people. We will never break free from the fixed mentality when we compare ourselves to others. There is no such thing as achieving something very fast. You can be efficient because you get good at doing something because you've done it over and over again. But to succeed in life, to have the productive mindset, you must embrace the power of repetition. Let me give you a secret about the power of repetition. The moment you start counting the number of times you do something before you get results, you will soon gas out. The reason why successful people don't gas out is because they are willing to keep repeating something that is worthwhile, doing something that is worthwhile several times before they get results, and they do not count how many times they do it. They keep putting in the effort without counting the number of times they do it. The moment you pause and say, I've done it 3 times and I've failed, you will soon gas out. But if you can keep doing something and you lose count of how many times you do it, then you're already developing the growth mindset. Wait a minute. Do you know that until your mind embraces something, your body cannot embrace it? And if your body doesn't embrace something, your body will never cooperate with you to get that thing done. How does your mind embrace something so that your body can also embrace it? That's the secret I will tell you soon. But before I tell you that secret, you must know that until you embrace the power of repetition and you are willing to keep putting in effort to achieve a worthwhile goal, you are not developing the growth mentality. But once you have the growth mentality, you are willing to keep putting the effort till you get the results. I want you to encourage me on this channel by liking this video and sharing it with your friends. And if you've not done so, I want you to subscribe to this channel and press the bell notification so that you'll be notified every time I release a new video. Now, I promise to tell you the secret of how to train your mind to embrace something so that your body can embrace it also. Popping up on your screen right now is the video where I've shared that secret. Click on that video now and I'll meet you there. Bye for now.